In talking about mental health, the genetic components that play a major part of how people respond and the behaviors that they exhibit are a result, for example, depression. A lot of times people who experience depression have had someone else in their family that have also experienced depression. So that's why it's important when we first start and you first meet a patient for the first time, I'm asking about background information. I want to know about your mom, about your dad, your grandfather, your grandmother, or who in your family that may have had some type of symptoms that are very similar to what's manifesting, and by the term manifesting is what's presenting to you right now. So for example, children become depressed and people say, well, what does a child have to be depressed about? Well, actually the child may not be depressed about the situation. It may be genetics that have played an important part and then what's going on with the individual. So the depression comes as a result of someone else having depression or someone else experiencing a form of mood disorder, because depression falls under what we call mood disorder. And so there are different forms of where you hear a lot of the new terms. You'll see here somebody who has bipolar disorder. And we're diagnosing children and adolescents with bipolar disorder, whereas when I first started practicing, that was something that we didn't do. Another genetically based type of disorder that I really talk a lot about is substance abuse or addictions. Because if there is a parent that you're aware of, or your parent that may have alcohol or drug abuse issue, that increases your probability of having that as well if you choose to drink or use drugs. Now, doesn't mean it's going to happen to you. It's just the awareness of knowing that I have a probability, because you can have 5 siblings and only one has the actual addictive type of behaviors and tendencies. But addictions are different types of addictions, so you have to know your family as best as you can, to inquire about your family background, to see what are some of the things that people have suffered from as you're trying to figure out what's going on with me, or why am I having certain difficulties, or why do I feel good when I, for example, smoke marijuana. And everybody thinks that that's okay, but it really is not okay. Drinking alcohol is a gateway. Marijuana is the next drug, and then it increases if you want to have that same feeling. So regardless if you have previous people who've experienced it or have addiction concerns, it's best not to even start, especially if you don't know, or you don't know what your tendencies can tend to be. Because you could have just started doing it just because you were a part of a crowd, and now all of a sudden being a part of the crowd has become your own concern, your own issue. So those are the 2 major genetically based. And of course you can become depressed with situational things that happen. But a lot of times if you go into the background, you'll find that there are other disorders that people have. So I kind of do a family tree.